Welcome back to week 5 of the EU LCS Spring Split. G2 just crushed Vitality, and that also means that Sjokz crushed Galio. Apparently, he is our player of the game with 64% of the votes, which is especially spicy because of the fantastic setup in the video where Galio said that Sjokz was probably the worst performing jungler in Europe, and Sjokz said no.
I mean, Galio was definitely reaching there. And I feel extra bad because I hyped Galio so much before the segments. You know, I said he's probably one of my MVP candidates. So I don't know what
you did do that.
I don't know why I said that now.
To be fair, though, you have to give a lot of credit because did Galio play back poorly? Up for debate. But what we can say for sure is 100% kill participation, massive contribution in every single fight. Sjokz, he's here to play.
He is here to play, and in this previous matchup, we also saw two of Europe's best mid laners, Jizuke and Perkz, battle it out. And in our next game, we'll see more mid lane action as Nukeduck and Caps face off in Schalke 04 versus Fnatic. Fnatic is currently on a 3-game winning streak. The question is, will that continue tonight as they take on Schalke? And that mid lane is definitely a big factor. Nukeduck not on Martin's list for MVP, MVP of the half split, however you want to call that, or Amazing's list. Still a very good mid laner though, so how is he going to do up versus Caps?
I feel like that when you look at these two, they're actually very similar in what they've been trying to do for their teams. Nukeduck and Caps have been the biggest playmakers, they're two of the biggest carries, but the main difference lies in the fact that Nukeduck has been so consistent since the start of the split.
Caps
yeah, that's where we get into it. Caps, he's been trying to make a lot of plays, but often he's actually been some of the detriments to Fnatic, where it felt like a lot of the pressure has fallen on top of him to perform. And in recent weeks, he's definitely been working better with the team and the pressure has come off in, but the same can't be said for the side of Nukeduck.
So in that context, is Caps a liability, specifically in this matchup versus Nukeduck?
Not right now, I don't think so. I just think that they're very similar in the terms of both of them have been trying to step up to be the big carries, whereas Nukeduck that recently has been much more of a reliance on him, whereas in recent weeks for Caps, the pressure has come off in and we've seen players like Rekkles step up to fill his shoes.
Yeah, it is kind of the inverse of missions for these teams, because in Fnatic we see that we want to see the damage output diversified. We want to see Caps stepping up alongside Rekkles, and Nukeduck actually has the same thing in Schalke because we also want to see the AD carry step up, Upset, and Rekkles versus Upset is a very nice matchup. Rekkles, of course, one of the best AD carries of all time in EU LCS, right? A legacy player up versus his up-and-coming rookie who, I think it's fair to say, has not performed to that standard yet.
No, yeah, it's not. Upset has still looked kind of shaky. For example, last week he had a Tristana jump that basically kind of lost him the game. So these kind of things still happen for him. On the other side, you have Rekkles, who, after we criticized him so much in the early part of the season, where we said maybe he's not really playing to the team, whatever it is, he looks disconnected. Now he goes on a rampage for like 4 straight games, destroys the opposition every single game of those. So I kind of feel bad for Upset to go up against Rekkles now, because in the early part of the season, this matchup would have probably been close. Now, I expect Rekkles to crush it.
So you think Rekkles has really come online in the last couple of weeks, and that is, if we look at his whole career, something that has happened before as well. He had times where he was very heavily criticized, and then last year he went on a tear in the summer split. So that's the kind of evolution we want to see from Upset. We definitely want to see him showing something more. Do you think, or do you agree with Amazing that he can't do anything today here in this lane?
I think that Upset has been getting better from week to week. He obviously wasn't available in week 1 due to his illness, and so his growth has been slightly delayed. But now we're reaching week 5 in the split, and at the beginning of the season, I had the opportunity to speak to some of the support staff and talk about the fact that I put Schalke in B tier right at the start of the split, and that was my expectations of them. They turned to me and they said, Vedius, you're an idiot. By we get to week 5 and week 6, I think we'll prove to you why this is actually an S-rated team. The growth they're going to make is fantastic, and you're going to be watching this team and recognizing they're actually competing for the top of the table spot. So now I've got my eyes on Upset. I've been promised by the support staff that he'll be able to bring the challenge to Rekkles, and I'm very excited to see what they can do today.
Well, we are very excited. As said, he missed week 1, so maybe we can cut them some slack and say if it doesn't work out, then it will be the next week. So quick predictions. It sounds like it's very Fnatic heavy so far.
I feel pretty good about Fnatic's chances. I think they're going to take it.
My eyes right now are on Fnatic. I do feel like they are the heavy favorites, especially based on last week. Right now, this looks like the best performing Fnatic that we've seen for a while.
Well, we'll see. We've got 2 big carry duels and a big matchup between Schalke and Fnatic. Let's throw it over to Big Drakos and Big Deficio and hit the rift.
I'll take it. Big Drakos, Big Deficio. It's a lot of big D.
I was about to say big Ds, but I'll take the other one. We should go to lineup.
All right, let's talk about them. Coming in on the blue side, we have Schalke, no fear. And this is the team we got to talk about. Analyst
You know we're 12 years old, man. That's
yeah,
fine.
we never grow up, man. It's like Peter Pan here. And, I mean, look.
Lineups.
There's two things that came away from the analyst desk that I really want to talk about when we talk about Schalke. And one is eyes on upset, see how he's going to perform. And the other is Vedius is an idiot, which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, so far, Schalke has not been performing like an S-tier team yet. Again, they want what they mean with that, of course, is they need time. They need to figure out all the basics first, like we've seen with G2. They need the different new members like Upset to suddenly get used to the stage and playing against players like Rekkles on the other side with Fnatic. So it's fine that Schalke ask for more time. But obviously right now, we're seeing a lot of teams improve a lot, and we want to see the same for Schalke.
And they're a week behind, and they're going to have to grow so quickly on the Schalke side, because when you go toe-to-toe with Fnatic, can't afford to make mistakes. You got playmakers in just about every single lane. sOAZ didn't need Flash last week. I mean, he needed it multiple times because he died, but then he didn't need it when he started solo killing people.
2 times he solo killed Ruin on the Ornn with his teleport ignite. Very fancy from him. Rekkles was a man they talked about right here in the intro. He's looking so much better here the last few weeks. The team, they're grouping a lot more. What Fnatic's figured out is, in this meta, you don't need to play only split pushing AD carry. You don't have to commit to 1-3-1 comps. You can draft a ton of engage, very, very strong team fighting comps that can always dive the enemy backline, and you can group early, and you can just death ball towards the enemy team. And that's what Fnatic have been doing for the last few games, and it's been so successful because Rekkles is part of the team fights early on.
And I love it, Deficio, because not only is Rekkles now more of a part of the team, Hylissang, the new addition, also performing so well, because he's from UOL, man. He knows what it's like to death ball up, to group, to look for engages. That is his style. Exactly.
Nice synergy.
I love it.
Xayah getting banned because Fnatic, they still like to play Xayah Rakan on their side. Camille taken away. Could tell us if we get an early Gnar pick for sOAZ, or just that Camille is slightly too strong at the moment. And it's always a fair ban. Jarvan. Schalke hates Jarvan. They banned this champion every single game they play. They're fine giving Team Sejuani, but not Jarvan, which is very interesting, and it might be something around pride and want to play the champion, or the fact that Jarvan is so good at trying to shut down a mid laner, and they want to make sure Nukeduck doesn't suffer in the early game.
And we've also seen Pride isn't a particularly active jungler in terms of ganking lanes early on, much more farm focused. So maybe trying to take away the aggressive early game options from the opposition to help enable that style. But Schalke, interestingly enough, prioritizing the Tristana with first pick.
It's after some of the AD carry nerfs we have seen Tristana, and also with Xayah and Sivir bans here, just becomes the most contested AD carry. And Schalke want to grab it for Upset, a guy who showed good laning phases on the Tristana here. But I was going to mention Gangplank, Sejuani, and Gnar as some of the big picks I was looking at. Going on Fnatic's side, they only do grab the Gangplank in this case here. Want to get the Braum to avoid a very famous combo, which is the Tristana Braum, where Braum can jump forward on a minion, stand next to the enemy AD carry support, and Tristana can then, of course, jump forward. Or you turn around and Tristana jumps first, and then the Braum just dashes to the Tristana, and you can kind of all in a lot of 2v2 lanes, and they get rid of that by taking the Braum.
And this is interesting, of course, as Fnatic have denied that. Schalke now are going to get their choice of jungler. They are going to opt for Sjokz. We saw a shift at some point for Schalke. At first, it was all Kazakhs, all Pride on these more carry styles. They swapped to Sjokz, and honestly, they've looked better ever since.
Yes, exactly. They don't have to play these difficult comps with the Kazakhs jungle, where it's all about getting the snowball and invading junglers early. Pride on Sejuani, it's just a much safer choice. He doesn't have to do much early on, and he can wait for team fights. Zach, of course, coming in for Broxah. The 2 most contested tank junglers locked in. So we are, of course, setting up for very big team fights. We just highlighted how Fnatic is kind of opted into the big team fight comps instead of the 1-3-1 split push drafts that we've seen from them in the past. And of course, Schalke, well, when you have Sejuani and Tristana, you like late game.
This is the meta comp, too. We see so much Gnar, we see so much Sejuani, Tristana as well, just a solid pick all around. But they're taking the Twitch away. They're taking away these hyper carry options for Rekkles. Maybe they're hoping to put him on something more utility-focused, a Varus, just for the early lane pressure.
Yeah, Varus, Caitlyn available. I want to highlight Jinx. It is an option for Rekkles if he wants a full-on late game AD carry. It's not something we've seen a lot from him in recent memory, but it's always there. And then his famous Jhin, which got buffed. We gave a bit more damage to that ulti. Might not get played for that reason.
Of course, on the opposite side, Fnatic are going to ban away some mid laners, but Deficio, no, I don't think we'll see a Jhin.
Nah, I agree.
So far, Rekkles has only played Tristana, Xayah, and Sivir, though, so this will require a new champion as 2 are banned, and Schalke has control of the other one.
And there's still Oh, there's the virus bans. I was about to say that was still open, but
Maybe we see Jinx.
I mean, Jinx is there. You can still play Ezreal.
Ah, there you
So
go.
There is a safe choice. Will not allow him to be the super insane late game carry, but
Which isn't the end of the world for Fnatic, right? We've seen Caps
Yeah,
can be
exactly.
that carry.
and
but
I always want to highlight that Aurelion Soul is available for Caps. They are last pick in mid lane for Caps. There is a chance. However, they might feel like they need some more like consistent carry potential, and that's where Aurelion
Yeah.
Soul often kind of snowballs the other lanes.
And when you're snowballing a GP who will get steadily closer to his late game spikes and an Ezreal who doesn't really hyper carry, it may not feel like the best choice, but we've seen crazy drafts from Fnatic 4. It is still an option, you point out. It is still a terrifying pick in the hands of Caps, even if it doesn't always work perfectly with the composition.
This Galio, man, keeps being left open, drops far down. This game, the last game as well, and it's such a good pick.
Oh,
That's new Swain. That's
Hylissang.
Corki.
Corki locked in. Did he not hover Draven and Orianna, by the way?
He did not.
He
I
literally has
noticed
done
that as well.
every game. Either he is so intently focused that he forgot.
That's probably it.
That's probably it. We'll assume.
Oh,
that's
his coach was screaming, Corki, now!
Stop hovering Orianna. And Draven.
So, the Galio comes in late. Nukeduck, amazing performance on this champion when they played against Giants. Early on in the split, it is still the full AP1. Super strong composition from Schalke's side. A lot of damage, great scaling, ability to play split push with Gnar in one lane. You got Galio plus TP. Like, I really like this draft overall from Schalke's side. I think there's a lot of great scaling tools. Fnatic, it is a double AD carry setup, but it's a little bit unusual because it's the Ezreal with the Corki. So it's not the classic, like, have two AD carries who just sit there and just shoot away, like, really effectively and kill whatever tank is in front of them. Like, it's a lot of kite.
And it's paired with the Gangplank too. So they have 3 very large damage threats. All of them need a lot of gold, though, to be relevant. Corki, of course, still a lane threat, but Galio's still going to be comfortable in that laning phase, and I feel like Schalke may have gotten the edge here in the draft.
I mean, we have to see in-game. I like Corki against Galio. You can't really die to him. You have great scaling, and in the late game when it's full AP Galio, a late game Corki can kill him very fast. So I think there's enough damage on Fnatic's side, but a lot of it is about dodging that initial engage, as we often see in this meta, where one team drafts heavy engage and the other team try and draft some disengage. On the side of Fnatic, that's what they're bringing against the heavy engage from Schalke.
We are now getting ready. Final game of the day, Fnatic versus Schalke. Who's going to come out on top? We're going to find out shortly. Both teams looking to end the first half of the split on a win. And a picture-perfect view of the Rift to get things started.
At this point, Schalke 4-4 after the first 8 games they played. Not near the #1 spot that maybe some members were looking towards, but of course, new lineup needs a bit of time on their side. Fnatic, who kept 4 members and only replaced the support, got Hylissang instead of Jessus. Currently looking to see if they can catch Vitality.
Definitely, and we saw as with many teams that we predicted to be on top, that they struggled at the beginning. That a lot of the preseason preconceptions were incorrect. But Fnatic have started ramping up. You see they're on a 3-win streak. You see Rekkles playing more with the team. We'll want to see if they can find another win here and get a solid advantage, or if Schalke can actually tie up the score. 4-4 to 5-3. And Deficio, I can see what Schalke are doing here. I can see the engage options. I can see the flexibility of it. I can see the Taric to deny anything back on the opposite side. But what do Fnatic need to do in this early game to make their composition work? Now, if you missed this, folks at home,
Yeah, that's a joke from last game.
gets their picture on the screen is in charge. So I'm in charge now, Deficio. Also, hi, Mom, if you're watching. I doubt it. It's NA time is still pretty early, but maybe.
Oh, all the NA fans are watching now.
Yeah, but I mean, also, it's like, my mom loves League of Legends like a mom can love League of Legends, right? So it's inconsistent, Deficio.
I will have to say, my mom watches every game.
Really?
In the ULCS, yeah. It's always running at home.
Are you out-momming me right now?
I believe so.
All right, man. It's a little harsh, but we'll take it.
She tried to give me advice when I was a pro player on what went wrong in games. I didn't take the advice, I will have to say. But I love the fact that she was so invested that she was like, hey, you shouldn't have died there, should you? And I'm like, no, I shouldn't. I know. I'm sorry, Mom.
I just love the idea that she's like, Yeah, you pushed that wave out too early, and you guys absolutely screwed up that rotation.
Taught me all the macro
Martin,
I know.
I raised you better than this. All right. But we'll focus up, because early game is still important, as we mentioned. Pride not hesitating to look for the early jungle invade, potentially even a play in the mid lane. But it's been spotted out. And we talked about the triple kind of carry threat. We talked about the engage on the side of Schalke. One good news piece for Fnatic is they have a lot of good options to stop the disengage. Gangplank has the oranges, he can BK. Rekkles can leap out, can interrupt a lot of CC, and Valkyrie for caps. So
yeah, exactly. And you got a Braum in there. Like, it might be a weird game for Broxah to play, because the rest of Fnatic's comp are hardly looking to kind of kill the backline instantly, and that's when normally Zach wants to go. But he's still a massive zoning threat that you have to respect. Rekkles, let's take a bit of damage here in this early trade, but it's going to be interesting to see how Caps and Rekkles play together, because if you ask me, like, this is the best kind of carry duo we have in the EU LCS. They're both sitting as 2-8 carries who wants to kite back, have really long team fights where they're just constantly shooting at the front line of Schalke until they kill the first guy. And what we have seen a lot with these Galio comps is because he's full AP, when he dives in with the ult, you switch to him and you try and kill him very fast because he is still fairly squishy, despite being a Galio. And that is one thing for Fnatic. Again, if that initial engage does not connect with the Taric stun or Sejuani ult, Rekkles and Caps can carry team fights.
And that's what they have to look for. But Schalke have been really good at executing in the early game, and that is one thing that we have to appreciate, because usually Schalke are always kind of the ones rotating first, the ones finding kills, the ones playing a very, very smart macro game. It's more individual mistakes and a few fumbles that kind of start to take things apart. You can see the tower differences here. Schalke get a lot of kills, but they give up a lot of towers to Deficio.
Exactly, and Fnatic on the other side, not the same case. They've been very, very good at getting the early tower advantage on their side. A lot of it comes from very strong bot lane laning phase, if you look at Rekkles and Hylissang, but they've also tried to switch to mid from time to time, around where Caps will sit. And we actually get both junglers around the mid lane. Broxah looking, but Nukeduck is all the way on the other side. Broxah takes a different path, and then he realizes there's Galio. Wait, no, maybe. What do you want to do, Broxah? Can you decide, please?
Deficio wants to cast, Broxah. You need to make up your mind.
I want to set up this gank. That's not happening. Or is it? It's happening.
Nukeduck has to be careful. Justice Punch is going to get interrupted. Taunt is going to come through. Sejuani over the wall, but they're not going to find the follow-up. They are just going to back right off. Does make Nukeduck a little less comfortable in this landing phase, though. Suddenly a little bit of kill pressure. Not that Caps cares, Deficio. He has a Cole. He is clearly aware that this is not about killing anybody.
Broxah, meanwhile, looking for another one. He is spotted by that control ward. There is no camp for him to kill at the moment. Meanwhile, top lane, we have this matchup quite often. Gnar pushes into GP. There's a small change. Last game, we had VandeR go Dematerializer in this matchup. sOAZ, he went for Biscuits. More lane sustain for himself. Want to make sure he doesn't get poked down at all by Vizicsacsi in the early game and can just keep the farm going, because then we know the GP will outscale. We know he will get an item advantage later, as long as he doesn't fall behind early. And that's one of the win conditions for Fnatic, is make sure sOAZ is by no means struggling in the early game, so that he just keeps scaling on GP and get to the point where you have 2 items on your Corki, you have 2 items on your Ezreal, who also sits with Klepto, of course, and then you have a very strong mid game.
And that's the big thing about the Klepto champions, right? You look at sOAZ, he has a 400 gold lead in lane right now. That is not from a massive CS advantage. That is entirely from the nature of Gangplank's kit and the addition of Kleptomancy. So unfortunately for Vizicsacsi, he's just not going to be able to keep up when it comes to first or second item spikes. Good news for him is Gangplank's going to go Trinity Force first. It's going to take a while, but still definitely not a comfortable situation to be in.
Oh,
Caps.
Whoa, he goes in.
Very patient. Looking for the big one. Nukeduck actually going to flash.
That went the wrong way.
Oh, Gangplank ult! Nukeduck! Oh! Special Forces Gangplank with the tactical strike, Deficio.
I'm pretty sure Nukeduck dashed the wrong way right there. Smacked into Caps, who was not even close to dying. Gave more damage for Caps to deal against Nukeduck. And then, of course, sOAZ, the man we just said shouldn't fall behind, should just keep farming, gets first blood in this game. So that gold lead you talked about before, well, it's now roughly 700 gold for Gangplank.
And of course, Gnar is pushing the wave back in, so once he catches that wave, it will start to even be greater in his favor. And that's what you like as a GP. I mean,
free kills mid? Yeah, that's great.
Caps is like, I really wanted to win my lane, and sOAZ is like, but I'm going to win my lane first.
Caps is like, I pick Corki, Galio can't kill me, I get free farm and free trades. That's what we see here. Nukeduck is low, wants to see if he can kill the last few minions, ends up walking in, Caps walks around, and then I'm going to say that he dashes the wrong way.
He gets caught. The Justice Punch back
thing.
dash animation actually catches him. So it's not what he wants, but now sOAZ needs to run because Vizicsacsi's on the way in. Just perfect timing to turn into mini Gnar. And is going to try to make his way out. There's the broken stopwatch, but VandeR is comfortable to tank. The flashback to safety. sOAZ, the escape master, makes it out yet again. Is trying to run.
He's probably going to die.
Yeah, not going to make it out. Kill traded back. A little bit of vengeance there for the man in the mid lane.
So lane swap while we were watching. Remember, Ezreal can ult from the other side to kill the few minions that are left. Let's see if Fnatic can do something on bottom side.
Actually going to be able to take out a lot of the minions. Going to be a lot harder to take the tower now.
Yeah, no minions left. They have to wait for the next wave. Meanwhile, Fnatic are still pushing bottom lane, but Schalke is still here. The tower is very low, and it's only 2 Fnatic members.
Cap still has pressure in the mid lane. Broxah actually going to dive in. Nukeduck has to be careful. Cap still does a lot of damage. Gangplank going to shred through a lot of the MR, but tower goes first to Schalke. That is huge. If they had lost that there, the goal lead for Fnatic would be even bigger.
Now, we gotta always see next step after the lane swap. Do you push all the way to tier 2 tower on top side, and then you're late for a potential dragon on the bottom side? Not in this case. Schalke making the correct move. Push the wave in, reset. Go back down so you can be on the bottom side of the map.
Creep was here.
Oh, Nukeduck. Still fine.
All right.
Fine. Oh, the delay just got recalled for VandeR, so he's still charging up now. I think Schalke could have gone back slightly faster top, because now there's a wave.
Oh, Nukeduck.
What's happening?
What? That didn't make any sense. Get out of there, dude.
Okay, so the last one, obviously, if he had jumped the other way, he would probably have charged back into Caps and got interrupted anyway. So he could have just flashed instantly. He didn't do that. He died by a GP ult. Now he just walked straight into Caps and died.
That's not what you want. And Hylissang, okay, he's got a blast gun there. He's going to be able to make it out to safety. Actually, Pride may overextend here. Has now been pulled into the middle of the team. Neither one of them want any of this. He's going to settle for a Braum. Deficio, that was a weird play.
Yeah, normally there's always a reason behind these kind of plays. They look so weird, where there was a thought in Nukeduck's mind of like, I need to do this thing now, and then it just ends up looking really bad because it didn't work. But we have to get the replay to have any idea of what just happened.
Now Pride in the middle of the jungle. The package is up. Galio's on the way in. Now Caps is caught in the middle of nowhere. VandeR's actually going to be able to take him down. This is a big turn for Schalke. It was all just a bait, Deficio. False sense of security from feeding in the mid lane.
So every time Nukeduck dies mid, Schalke responds with a really good play that, you know, the swap top to kill sOAZ and get first turret. Then we have this bot lane player. They did lose Infernal Drake, worth highlighting, after going top lane. That is one of the problems with it. If you're even on killing the first turret, you can be late for the next objective. But still surprised about what happened in mid.
Me too. I gotta say though, Caps is playing this matchup in a way that I didn't expect, that I think is really cool. He's consistently staying very close to the Galio, making sure he can proc the Gatling gun and making sure that Nukeduck can't actually get away from him now that he has an advantage. If he tries to Justice Punch, it pulls him back first.
Yes, and then he
the
gets hit by the Corki.
Exactly, and it's
But that's
clever.
why on the first one, he should have flashed away earlier, obviously, instead of trying to dash away. Then end up dashing towards the Corki in a way. Pride will start the Rift. We might get the play from before. So, first initial gank from Broxah happens. Nukeduck walks away. That's fine. No problem here. Barely took any damage.
Walks up, has no abilities.
And now he's low. Caps is almost full HP.
Did not.
Yeah, I mean, so he tried to go in, kill the wave, and then dash away. But again, as we just talked about, when you do this on Galio, you jump back a little bit. And as long as Corki is standing in close range, you just hit him. That was just greedy. That was actually no reason. It was just greed.
Yeah. I mean, Vizicsacsi was very close. Maybe he was hoping for the bait. Maybe he expected to live for a few seconds longer. And
I'm going to say no, that was greedy.
It was definitely greedy, regardless of the decision-making process there. But for now, Nukeduck can still clear out the wave. Unfortunately, Infernal Drake is actually the worst thing you can give to Fnatic. They have a triple carry threat comp. They're all 2/3 of the way to their Trinity Force. You can see how much damage that nets them as Rekkles does not hesitate to leap over the wall. Krugs there being the homie. Try to take down VandeR. He's still going to walk away, but Fnatic actually very much in control.
And we talked about like the 2-item spike for Fnatic. Like, look what they're doing in this game. There's triple Trinity Forces coming on their side. It's not Iceborne Gauntlet being rushed for Rekkles at the moment. It is triple Trinity Force power spike with early kill for the Corki, early kill for the GP, they're going to hit this really fast, and they're going to be so strong if we look at this mid game. Schalke at this point, they need to try and keep scaling.
Was it Season 6 where we talked about the double Trinity Force power spike almost every game? Deficio, we're going even further. It's the triple. And now Nukeduck needs to make his way out. Broxah, is he going to be able to connect? Does manage to pull him back, but TP is burned to keep him alive. Vizicsacsi still going to commit. Flash forward is going to knock back Hylissang, looking for a little more. Now, good damage on the Hyper. Pride is there for the backup. Hylissang actually going to die. Good turn from Schalke. Overconfidence from the Fnatic lineup.
I mean, I really like how aggressive that call is. Chachi shows up with barely anything left on his Mega Gnar, and he still calls for the flash ult onto the no-flash Braum. That was really quick and good shot calling from Schalke. And it does net them a kill, but TP is now on cooldown for Vizicsacsi. sOAZ TP is available. Chachi wants to try and fight him.
Starting to look for the good trades. Those hyper procs definitely hurting. But Trinity Force, very nice to have for sOAZ as we look back on this play.
All right, so this time it's a gank. Remember, guys, Nukeduck will not die to ganks. He will just die after by walking into caps for some reason. But I like the call here. Talking like 1 second left on that Mega Gnar, and Chachi's just going, go for this guy, we can kill him. Always have to talk about, is it worth it to invest, you know, multiple summoners for 1 kill? If they get something after it, yes. In this case, they're now pushing mid, and they're going to get mid lane turret.
And this is exactly what Fnatic needed to be scared of. They wanted to stall out, they wanted to play the farm game, they wanted to look towards 2 items, but we're still waiting on 2 Trinity Forces. We're waiting on second items across the board, and in the meantime, Rift Herald now empowers Schalke to group up as a team and threaten for that all-terrifying dive.
We have to remember the Schalke comp also wants to play the sidelines. That's why you have the Gnar, that's why you have Galio ulti, double TP on your side. Fnatic are trying to match that with their own double TP, and Caps can sit and hold a side lane if you want to later on in the game and try and match what's happening global-wise. But Fnatic's comp is very much 5-man together, you know, kite back, a lot of damage from double AD carry plus a crit GP in the late game. Schalke is much more about the initial engage, and then of course Gnar trying to win a side lane.
And this fits in well for Fnatic in terms of how they've been playing recently. Rekkles, kind of the guy that was criticized so much at the start of the season, has been stepping up, has been playing more with the team. You can see a steady rise in kill participation in weeks 3 and 4. That's him grouping with the team.
Yeah, exactly. The problem for him was he stuck to the side lane. That was the old style for him. Got caught out quite a few times, set the team behind. They had teamfight starting where he wasn't there. But that's not happening anymore. He's holding mid on this Ezreal, and I know I sound surprised, but again, that is kind of the change. We also saw last week where Rekkles is the one holding mid lane and Caps can go to side lanes.
Caps does have a safe way out, but has to be careful. Can't afford to get stunned up. Will use the package. Makes it out to safety. But Schalke's starting to be a lot more of a threat than they were a few minutes ago.
Yeah, and what keeps happening as well is Nukeduck pushes top and then he goes mid. Because that allows Schalke to then push out mid, and then they control bot side and mid side at the same time. Suddenly, Nukeduck is unleashed to ult to the bottom lane if needed. So by moving Vizicsacsi down, because there's no tower for him to kill on top side, they apply more pressure mid. Let's see him fight here though.
Broxah looking for the follow-up, immediate GP ulti going to be used. They're trying to find the disengage, and they are going to get the Taric out ult. Fnatic forcing that at least, but won't find the engage, commit resources right as the Drake responds, however.
They still got triple Trinity Force power spike on Fnatic's side. They know they can try and fight for these Drakes here. They got Infernal already. Hylissang looking for the engage.
Is going to find the 3-man knockup. They're now leaping back. Caps and Rekkles on the hunt. Broxah on the front line as well. Going to look to connect the stretching strikes. Can find the follow-up as he gets the flash forward. Unstoppable. Galio going to move in to make sure that no one else drops. Pride still tanky enough to survive for now. Fnatic poking at the opposition. Vizicsacsi just trying to find the engage. Gnar will let them chase, but they're backing off in the end.
Fnatic got that Mountain Drake. Important for them if they want to try and keep this mid-game snowball rolling. Eventually they will have to try and get a Baron down if they want to try and finish the game. Infernal coming up next once again for a composition with this strong 1 to 2 items. That is good on Fnatic's side. If you look at Schalke, they're still waiting for Upset now. He needs the 3 items before he really becomes the big carry on this Tristana. So good Drakes in favor of Fnatic, but Schalke did manage to disengage, did not lose anyone else. And they still keep the game very even in terms of gold.
And Fnatic dangerously close to overextending there. Vizicsacsi's in position to find that perfect Gnar ultimate. Things can start to fall apart very quickly, but it's kind of the nature of this composition. They're going to play on the edge. They're going to play as close to the enemy team as possible to continue dishing out damage with the auto attacks. Rekkles and the rest of the team now looking to push down mid lane. They get the mid prio. Looks like they might just use this to back off in the end and get that chance to buy some more items.
It's also going to be very interesting to see if VandeR plays Taric in this game. Because he's not against the traditional comp that kind of dives at the Taric and then he just pops ulti and it's all amazing because you stop that burst damage coming in. Late game again, Fnatic is much more about kiting and consistent DPS, which is not where Taric is really good, because his ulti only works for a short amount of time. But here in the mid game, when Fnatic can play aggressive, because of all the Trinity forces, the Taric ult can be used defensively. So that is something, at least, on the side of Schalke. We now have the 1-3-1 set up. Bot lane, Sjokz, top lane, Nukeduck. Everyone from Fnatic is pushed back on the map, and good move from Schalke to the bottom side.
Yeah, GPL looks like it's going to be too little too late. There's too many members strong here. Fnatic actually not in a good position to respond. Maybe felt lulled into a false sense of security since Galio was on the top side, couldn't have immediately come to join the fight without a TP. Now Rekkles could be in trouble.
So he's on a control ward at the moment for himself.
He's going to find the knockup. Immediate TP from Schalke. They see an opportunity. They smell blood in the water. Broxah going to try to find a way out, but Vizicsacsi knows the escape path is there. Upset like a man possessed, looking to bring the Taric stun in. Now they're on the retreat. He's leaping again. He's finding the resets. He's looking for an opportunity to show what he's got. He's going to take down Hylissang. Fearless from the AD carry on the side of Schalke.
Nice synergy right there. VandeR put everything on Upset. Ulti to stun, so he just jumped forward twice. Fnatic had to just try and kite back. They couldn't actually kill him. Good moves from Schalke. Control mid lane into bot lane play. Then they go towards mid here, where Nukeduck was hiding between two control wards from his own team. So he knew Fnatic, they didn't see him. That's why they face check. Bam! Nukeduck shows up. Rekkles needs to jump out. Fnatic can't fight. It's only 3 members. And then VandeR just says, go, AD carry, go! I can ult you. You got a stun. Gets, of course, the reset on the jump. Goes in once again. And while he doesn't get the kill on Rekkles, take the kill you can onto Hylissang. Second time, they just settle for the support.
Oh. So well played. Knocks him back to try to deny the auto attack on the blast cone. One more to bring it home. Good patience around stacking the satchel charge as well to reset the jump. Brave play. Kind of play that got him killed the last time Schalke played against G2, but here it does work out.
Yeah, he had the information that not all 5 members were there from Fnatic. He knew that Taric was there to save him as well, so he could do it. But it all started with Nukeduck hiding in that brush. That surprised Fnatic a lot. And the fact that Rekkles was forced out of the fight from the get-go obviously meant they couldn't really do anything. And he even steals a Rift Scarlet. What can he do?
Well, it's a good look so far, but it's only going to get harder because normally we'd be like, oh man, Rekkles versus Upset, young potential prodigy versus grizzled veteran MVP, but now it's young prodigy versus baby faker and the potential
You're not allowed
MVP.
to say that. We banned that one.
Did we really ban that?
I mean, we tried it once.
People did get very upset.
Everyone hated us saying, he's not faker, he's caps.
All right.
And it's true, he is caps.
Regular caps.
There you go, much better name.
And it just feels, because Upset has to play not only like perfectly in these fights, but he has to be aware that both Caps and Rekkles can kill him at any point, and of course the also terrifying Gangplank.
But for now, Schalke, despite looking at all the Trinity forces on the side of Fnatic, they've been getting the gold, because they got the good play for bot lane tower. They've been using the split push very effectively, and Fnatic once again is a push far back. A problem for Fnatic is the AD carry they have sitting mid lane does not provide proper wave clear. That is, of course, the Ezreal. So, when a static shift Tristana walks up to a wave, she kills the wave in roughly, what, 2 seconds? Maximum 2 seconds, it's gone. Ezreal needs more time. So it's much quicker for Schalke to sit mid with the AD carry, kill the wave instantly, and then leave the mid lane and either go top or bot lane. And that makes split push more effective. So it's
now we're going to see the 1v1. It's all about denying those barrels where he can. Vizicsacsi can have the flash back to safety. Gnar is up and available. Will make the retreat a little bit harder, but flash burn for nothing on the side of sOAZ. Good confidence coming in from the top laner for Fnatic.
Exactly, saw that Gnar knew he could go for the all-in. Sjokz didn't get to go back and get his frozen mallet just yet. It is completed now, but good all-in from sOAZ to get a flash. And this buys a bit of time for Fnatic, because now the one split push component is not there. But as we just highlighted, as long as Schalke can always kill mid lane wave fast and then go towards either top or bot, they control the map, and Fnatic can push back.
And this is that second Inferno we talked about earlier, Deficio. This is something you do not want to give to Fnatic. They have a lot of damage to cut through it, but you have to remember that Schalke have a team fight option if they can find it.
And right now, there's 1,500 gold on Rekkles. That tier is fully stacked, but he's not been able to go back and do anything with it. So he's not that strong.
Schalke pulling out. Broxah has leapt out of the pit, used the elastic slingshot to escape. Schalke just going to walk away with the Infernal. Fnatic giving him the leash. Good win for that team.
Yeah, good shot calling on their side. Realizing when they looked at the items, no Infinity Edge yet for Caps. Rekkles hadn't gone back to base and spent all his gold either. So these carries were not sitting on 2 items yet. And you look at Tristana on the other side, that's 2.5 completed. So Schalke knew they could take this fight in case Fnatic wanted to go for it. And now we get that standard play around the Baron Vision very soon.
An upset with just a small deficit. 500 or 600 more gold until he can finish that rapid fire cannon. Needs the Courtier shard and the completion cost. But once he gets those 3 items, he's going to be feeling really good because there's 1 tank, 2 if you include the Braum, on the side of Fnatic, so it's easy for him to go carry to carry. But of course, you have to respect Rekkles a lot now. Previously, not a big deal, but with the Muramana fully completed and stacked, the Man Immune rather.
Still waiting on IH for Caps. It is not here yet, 23 minutes in, so Schalke can keep being very confident in forcing fights. It is tough without any control wards in the inventory to do anything around the Baron though, so they have to settle for just a full-on reset, but once again, oh, that was a big hit.
You might want to back up there, friend. Good damage comes in from Rekkles. That's kind of the terrifying part of that Ezreal burst once he hits that 2-item spike you talk so much about.
It's dirty. The amount of damage he deals now, how hard it is to catch him as well. Nukeduck, despite a very rough start to the game where he of course fell down a ton of CS, he's still behind, but he's not died since, and he's actually had decent impact in the last few fights we have seen.
But it's interesting because Nukeduck has been such a big carry for this team, and while he still can carry in terms of decision making, in terms of kind of team fight impact, it's really all eyes on Upset right now for damage output. Schalke, the rest of the members, they can find the perfect engage, but if he's out of position, it's not going to matter much. He is their damage threat. He has the pressure, whole world kind of on his shoulders as far as this team is concerned.
Get the same kind of setup from Schalke with the 1-3-1. Everyone is kind of just grabbing whatever they can, so no one is setting up for a big play at the moment on the Schalke side. Gives Fnatic a chance to group as 5. One of the answers to 1-3-1, if you can't win the side lane, go 5-man mid. Try and force a play on either the mid turret or around the Baron, but it's still only 24 minutes in, so it's kind of a little bit too early for Fnatic to just kind of rush it, and it means they kind of have to just keep holding on, at least for a little bit, while Schalke get back map control.
No, Vizicsacsi now the one looking for the 1v1, started in Mega, exactly what he wants, swaps to Mini, means he will at least get the Sterix active out. But this is the contested battle on the side lane. Small missteps like that barrel mean sOAZ is going to have to back off here. Side lane pressure in favor of Schalke. And once again, if he doesn't connect these barrels, he can't actually clear the way. Vizicsacsi playing so well around the Gangplank.
So fun watching 2 veterans just go at it in this top lane. sOAZ, of course, the member who's played the most games for Fnatic. Meanwhile, Chachi recently joined Schalke after being on Unicontrol up for so many years. Let's see what happens now, because Caps with the package.
Maybe enough. TP is coming in. He needs the Mega if he wants to live. He's going to have to leap out to safety. Takes the Blast Cone away, but Caps is coming in just a little bit further. Has the ultimate, not going to connect on the wall up. Great sidestep just to pull it out.
And important to note, Schalke cannot start Baron because they're double TP on the side of Fnatic with the 2 members in that side lane. Vizicsacsi, he thought he could get some damage on the turret. He thought maybe he could get a kill on sOAZ, but he ended up overextending. Now giving Fnatic the chance to get back all that control that Schalke just managed to get.
And now Schalke have to choose. Classic Chachi.
That's a classic Chachi.
Overextending in the side lane, hungry for the 1v1, outplaying people right up till he dies.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because at this point here, even if Nukeduck does manage to TP in, I don't think they can turn this in 2v2 around. And you're against double TP, so this is really easy for Fnatic to go down and kill you.
And man, Cap's just so confident there. Not even going to be worried about getting hit by the wall. Backsteps. But of course, Chachi, the second he locks himself into that animation, is dead anyway, because sOAZ is there as well.
Just kind of resets the game with Schalke kind of looking to still set up the same kind of play where either Chachi can kill bot lane turret or they bait out a Baron play. But on the Schalke side, every time you do get delayed a little bit, it does kind of reset the entire map for you, but you still have the control. Fnatic, these AD carries, getting a few more items under their belt. They couldn't use the 2-item power spike because it never really arrived. They were sitting on Trinity Force plus something in that mid game when Schalke kind of outplayed them, out-rotated them on the map. And Rekkles couldn't push back mid because he's Ezreal versus Static Shift Tristana.
And we look at this. Fnatic actually had a ton of control in the early game. It was
this one ward, pesky ward. Guys,
striking back.
You gotta always sweep the outside of the Baron pit because people will pluck these small wards around the walls where your control ward will not see it. if you put it inside the Baron pit. Always gotta sweep the outside.
No surprise Baron this time. Schalke instead gonna have to be content with pushing out the mid lane. Chachi is once again back in the side lane. We rinse, we repeat, Deficio. It is the battle for Baron.
But it's not too bad for Schalke that the game is not ending super quickly. Like, this Tristana, as we already highlighted in the late game, will be a monster. And the amount of threat against this Tristana, it's kind of limited to just Gangplank and, of course, the Zac. But with the Taric ult, that should not take him down. So we are really looking at Upset for a big carry performance in this game. Still a problem that Nukeduck is behind. While Caps, of course, is scaling like a madman on this Corki here. So Fnatic definitely have great scaling on their side, but not auto-winning team fights in the late game.
And not the case. Trading autos there is brutal, though. You can see the big one did about 400 damage to Upset. Ezreal doing a good chunk, too. But the auto attack on the double Energizer items doing good as well. Now Vizicsacsi in the meantime, he's going to take his free objective, but Fnatic are grouping in the mid, and Caps has actually killed Upset. What happened? Now on the retreat, the follow-up is all too easy for Fnatic. There's no AD carry there. They're not scared. They get a double. Just when we think the game is slowing down, Fnatic set a new pace.
And just when we talk about how Fnatic should not be able to catch the AD carry from Schalke, there's a Taric there. He's a Tristana. Ulti, flash, jump. And Fnatic managed to kill him first. Take mid turret, take the Baron as well. Everything just swung completely in their favor.
We're gonna need a replay. You can see Upset frustrated on stage. We'll find out if it's justifiably so. Does die with flash up.
So he's already low, gets hit by Rekkles. So he's down to about 50%, that's a big one. And he simply dies from poke, and then the big one plus the GP ult flying into his face.
I mean, maybe there's a world where if he flashes instead of rocket jumps, he gets out of the GP ult sooner and lives, but that's what's terrifying about being Upset right now, is that if the enemy team dictates the start of the fight, the Taric ult just takes too long. You die too quickly.
And of course, I mean, if you get hit by every single skill shot as a squishy AD carry, newsflash, you die.
It's true. We're gonna need to see some of the movement Upset is heralded for in solo queue if he wants to bring home a win here, because Fnatic are in the driver's seat. They've got a massive gold advantage. Caps and Rekkles continue to scale up. Corki has the IE and a rapid fire cannon. This is the worst thing in the world to play against as an AD carry.
Schalke were doing fine, just stalling. And then this play happens out of nowhere. That technically never should happen, but great poke from Fnatic into good ult from sOAZ, and now they're pushing for another tier 2 turret. Caps is an absolute monster on the Corki. 4 kills.
Yeah, 4-1-1. sOAZ contently farming up on the top side. Rekkles is scaling as well. Has the QSS now just to make sure he can't get picked off. Caps is still a little vulnerable. You can see he took a lot of damage from the Winds of War earlier. Upset, though, has to be so careful. This is a game where I feel like on the one hand, we want to see him play on the edge. We want to see him just like win these fights. But on the other hand, he cannot die under any circumstances.
He took another crit right there. And now he gets zoned away by that GP ult. That should be a tower for Fnatic.
And the poke and the siege from this composition is just overwhelming. Pride getting anxious, tries to force a play, and it may just cost him his life. Taric all used as well, Flash used as well. Vizicsacsi now in trouble. Good damage comes in from Rekkles. Elastic Slingshot not going to go in. But Fnatic breaking towers left and right because sOAZ isn't even there.
Exactly, he was just pushing the bottom side. Double AD carries on top side. They will take down turrets very quickly. sOAZ will not be able to go straight for the inhib turret. We'll just have to settle for all the gold Fnatic just picked up. 8k gold lead at this point. Let's see, Upset jumps in.
Still eager to make something happen. Caps not going to get locked up quite yet. Winds of War, they're trying to find anything at all. The TP's coming in. sOAZ wants to join the fight, but they've already picked off Hylissang, the unstoppable. He's going to pull at least one member back to the team. Upset is alive and well for now, but Rekkles is off to the side. Who can take down Upset? Can he continue to look for damage? TP now coming in from Vizicsacsi. Upset is alive, but Nukeduck is going to give up his life. Everything is falling apart for Schalke as Caps just starts popping off.
Before this happened, we had a Taric ulti used. We had the ulti from Pride completely missing. So when Schalke tried to force the engage, they were missing key ultis, and that's why they can't win the fight. Fnatic they might push for the finish.
They have so much damage. They can cut through these towers effortlessly. You see them dropping so quickly. Vizicsacsi needs to find something, but there's no wall to knock them into. He might have to throw the team into his own Nexus just to find enough CC. sOAZ does not hesitate to move forward. Every barrel could be death. Upset is looking for just a little bit more damage. It doesn't matter. Fnatic just playing with their food at this point. They have 3 AD carries in the base. They're going to move in. They're going to take down the Nexus. They're going to take down Schalke.
I was getting ready for a long game. Back and forth, side lane pushing on the Schalke side. Fnatic trying to defend, get Corki really fed, and then have to kite back in late game team fights. And then they find a pick out of nowhere by simply landing poke onto the enemy AD carry. They kill him, they take mid tower, they take Baron, and after that, Schalke get desperate for a fight. Sejuani ulti misses, Taric ulti's on cooldown, and then they try and force anyway and end up losing it. We have to say there are some rookie tendencies being shown on the side of Schalke, despite having multiple veterans on their roster. And then upset on this Tristana. He was one of the guys we looked at after the Vitality game, who overextended, got caught by too many skill shots, died.
And on the one hand, and on the one hand, I respect that Schalke still put the weight on his shoulders, still said, hey, you are the damage threat, you can carry this game. But at the same time, what an insanely hard game for him to carry. And you just can't afford to make little mistakes, because obviously the Corki, the GP, the Ezreal, enough to just crush him if he missteps even once.
I mean, there was never really a reason for him to be in range to take all that poke damage, right? He was going to contest the wave, and that was about it. So it's just on stage, it takes a lot of time for some players to get used to it. Other players, like the guys in Vitality, they step on stage for the first time and they play even better because they love it. But I think we're seeing now over the last few weeks that Schalke make a lot of really good calls. Like, I love the way they were setting up the 1-3-1. They got turrets, even against triple Trinity Force. They knew when to go for Drake. Like, all that was great. But then there were just some individual issues. Nukeduck in lane in this game. Yeah. Not something we see often. That was really strange.
And I feel like Schalke played the mid game so well. Early game, they were losing. They were in a lot of these deficits, a lot of uncomfortable scenarios. But mid game, they played so well to get back into it, to get the game back in their control, to utilize their composition a little bit. And then it just, I mean, you get late enough against basically three AD carries, right, with the GP doing so much.
You die to poke and give free Baron. Then, of course, these guys with the Corki getting
you have a Corki Ezreal GP. You can't sit under a tower against those 3 champions.
No, that ended up being super rough ending for Schalke Fnatic. The moment they got the kills, they said, we know exactly what to do. Kill this guy, take Baron, go topside while GP is sitting bot lane, and poke, 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 poke. If they ever try and engage, kite back at first, like we saw during that little last fight. Yeah. And then turn around and then kill the first guy.
And they have Braum. Right? The biggest damage threat right there is the Tristana. Even if they land that clutch engage when they're in that kind of deficit, Braum just leaps in front. Where's the damage go?
And then the classic one that Noskaran pointed out, Braum just needs to auto-attack one guy, and then Yelfis AD carries, hit this guy, by the way, we can kill him, and it works.
And you have 2 of them. You have double AD carries.
That's true, you did a double AD carry.
So easy to just stun somebody.
That was a really strange ending. Congrats to Fnatic for, of course, closing out very
really
quickly.
Good. Like you said, I was like, oh, there's a lot of Trinity Forces. We're going to go. It's going to be super late game. It's going to be upset versus 3 scaling carries. And then it was upset versus 3 different skill shots. And he lost.
He did lose. Hard to dodge the GP one, to be fair.
Of course, we do have, coming shortly, folks, sOAZ and Broxah interviewed by Medic, telling us about how they felt about the game. Followed by PGO, the EU LCS post-game lobby. So, a lot of content. I think a lot of chances to talk about what happened today. Because there's a lot of weird games. There's a lot of Wombo comps. This did not...
That's true.
Did not expect this.
We had a lot of fast games as well. I think the average game time was around like 32, 33 minutes. I don't think any of the games went full-on late game. Because at any point where we kind of got to that 30, 35-minute point, someone just smacked a big team fight and won the game.
That's all it took. Or poked Tristana. That's all it takes.
Also works.
Definitely the case. Well, as we just saw, Fnatic secured the win against Schalke. And of course, for more on that, here's Medic with sOAZ and Broxah.
Thank you very much. I'm joined by sOAZ and Broxah, as you said. Drakos, very well noticed. Good stuff from you. Now, guys, good performance there. 4 in a row. How does it feel coming into the second half of the split, being at a relatively respectable scoreline?
You can go. I mean, after the start we had, like, in the beginning it was a bit up and down, but yeah, the past weeks we've been playing more solid, a bit more clean. We've got more confidence. So I think overall, our communication and our players just been better. And yeah, I think this is a good sign.
Right, so it's like you've been in a lot of teams that have had to sort of work up, build the synergy up. How do you think this Fnatic team compares to ones you've been in the past?
Compared to like last year, or compared to like
last year, a few years ago?
It's really hard to compare from like 3-4 years, because it was like everything was so different, right? So I don't think it's really comparable like from the past years. Compared to last year, I don't think it's too different actually. Like I don't think the difference that we had in the support role like made too much difference in terms of like the team atmosphere and all this kind of stuff. So it feels the same. The only thing is that the game changed so much, so we just have to adapt, and we are more focused on like early game before, and now we just had to learn how to play the actual game.
So talking about the meta a little bit there, I want to specifically dive into top lane, because you've been an advocate against playing dog champions in the past. Top lane has been very tank focused recently. How do you feel that the top lane meta suits you at the moment?
So I think the perfect way to describe it is that the champion that we play on the top lane is fun, but the role by itself is still way less impactful than any other role. So the champions are like, you can play a lot of different champions, but it doesn't mean that the role is really impactful. So I just think all other roles are just way more OP.
That's really interesting to say though, because I agree with you, but you seem to be able to make top lane an impactful role. Like we look at your Ornn with Ignite Teleport, we look at your plays in this game as well. You seem to be able to actually impact the map. What are you doing that other top laners can't do?
Well, if you get a lead as like Ornn, for example, you can impact the map a lot more because you can engage, right? So if you get a lead on Gnar or Vlad or GP, it's way harder to like impact the map, because you cannot roam to mid too much. Like it's not gonna do anything, right? So yeah, with most champions, it's really hard to impact the map overall. Like before, if you had the lead with Sjokz, you had Rekkles Glory, so you could engage, right? So it depends on the champion that you play, but it's fairly hard to impact the map from top, depending on the champion that you play.
All right, so that's a really interesting sort of viewpoint on that, and we'll have to see if that changes in the next few weeks. I want to come to a question that's a little bit outside of the EU, LCS, and Esports. Broxah, I saw on your Twitter feed that a lot of the time you go into a few schools, you've given lectures on Esports. What is it that's motivated you to do that as a professional player?
Well, the thing is that I'm still, like, being a pro player is still so new for me. So I know how you feel when you're not a pro player, when you're like playing semi-professionally or when you're just a fan. And I always felt like it was really weird that, like, I have an idea of like some sort of idea of what the pro player schedule and all looks like. But in reality, what I thought was kind of far from reality. There's so many more things into it. Like when you're on a team, there's so many people around it. So I thought it would be interesting to actually tell other people who are now in same shoes as I was, what being on a pro team, what being a pro player is actually like. And yeah, that's the main reason.
All right, it's very interesting to see you do that. I think you're the first player I've really seen reach out to the community like that. So kudos for that. Congratulations again on the win, guys. Incredible performance today. Hopefully it continues into tomorrow. We're going to hand it back across towards the post-game lobby. Sjokz, take it away.